A series of violent wildfires erupted in the wooded hills west of Jerusalem, rapidly spreading toward the main highway that connects the capital to Tel Aviv. What began as an isolated fire quickly turned into one of the most devastating wildfires in Israel's recent history. Weather conditions, winds exceeding 50 kilometers per hour, 31 miles per hour, soaring temperatures, and dry vegetation, created the perfect storm for the flames to spread. The fire originated in the Ashtow Forest, near the Mesolot Zion settlement. The flames advanced quickly, forcing authorities to activate all emergency protocols. The fire reached areas such as Nev Shalom, Beoa, Taho, and Nazhan, all densely wooded and rural. Entire communities were caught off guard by the thick smoke and scorching heat, forcing more than 10,000 people to evacuate with little more than the clothes on their backs. Among the hardest-hit locations were Beit Mir, Givat Yaim, Shesh, and Ramat Raziel. Even the Adnim Psychiatric Hospital had to be evacuated in the chaos, with reports of 2 patients initially missing. The scenes were terrifying. Massive smoke columns blanketed the sky, turning daylight into darkness and making it hard for residents to breathe. Authorities issued health alerts due to hazardous air quality. Route 1, the main artery between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, was temporarily closed as flames came dangerously close to the highway. Hundreds of drivers abandoned their cars and fled on foot. The road closure caused massive traffic congestion, slowing down evacuations and making it harder for firefighters to access the most affected zones. In parallel, the Israeli government declared a national state of emergency. Over 120 firefighting brigades were deployed, along with 12 firefighting aircraft and dozens of helicopters dropping water over the most active hotspots. The Army was also mobilized, including the Home Front Command, Air Force rescue units, and ground patrols. Their mission was to assist in evacuations, support firefighting efforts, and maintain public order. Despite the large-scale response, the flames destroyed over 5,000 acres of land, including around 3,000 acres of forests and nature reserves. An estimated 20 homes were completely destroyed, and many more were damaged. The environmental toll was severe. Entire ecosystems, protected species habitats, and agricultural zones were reduced to ash. In the mountainous areas west of Jerusalem, at least 11 active fire zones were reported simultaneously, making containment even more challenging. Authorities said that approximately 12,000 acres had burned, equivalent to about 1,700 football fields.
Spreading the fire.
This was an unprecedented emergency, already being compared to the infamous Mount Carmel fire of 2010. The conditions were so extreme that major national events had to be canceled. Coincidentally, the disaster struck during Israel's Memorial Day and its 77th Independence Day celebrations, prompting the cancellation of ceremonies such as the torch lighting event at Mount Herzl. Cities like Tel Aviv, Ashkelon, and Beersheba also called off planned festivities. In response to the fire's magnitude, Israel requested international assistance. Greece, Croatia, Italy, and Cyprus were contacted for firefighting aircraft support, although some, like Greece and Cyprus, ultimately declined. Nevertheless, aircraft arrived from Italy and Croatia, while other countries like Spain, France, and Romania expressed willingness to help. Medical teams deployed ambulances and rapid response motorcycles along main roads. At least 20 people were injured, most suffering from smoke inhalation and burns. Young children and the elderly were especially vulnerable to the hazardous air, which reached dangerous pollution levels. The Ministry of Environmental Protection issued public health warnings and advised residents of Jerusalem and surrounding areas to stay indoors. Still, many were trapped in their homes with no way to evacuate. Rescue teams made heroic efforts to extract people from burning zones and move them to safer locations. Ecologically, the damage was catastrophic. National parks, old-growth forests, and nature reserves were reduced to charred wastelands. Environmental Protection Minister Tamar Zandberg linked the rise in such fires to climate change, saying Israel is now experiencing unprecedented frequency and intensity of climate-related disasters. At the same time, investigations began into the cause of the fire. Fire Commissioner Dedi Simchi confirmed it was caused by human activity. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that 18 people had been arrested on suspicion of arson, one of whom was reportedly caught in the act. No formal charges have been filed yet, and the investigations are still ongoing. After more than 30 straight hours of firefighting, the blaze was declared under control. However, authorities remain on high alert for flare-ups, as shifting winds continue to reignite hotspots. Jerusalem Fire Chief Shmulik Friedman called it perhaps the largest fire ever recorded in the country. The scale of the disaster forced the government to approve an initial $21 million in emergency aid for medical care, temporary housing, food, and reconstruction. Volunteers and local municipalities helped accommodate thousands of displaced residents in schools, community centers, and converted hotels. Recovery will be slow. Experts warn that restoring the damaged forest lands could take decades. Rebuilding homes, power infrastructure, and roads will also require significant investment. Authorities have pledged to review prevention protocols and strengthen climate resilience in the face of future disasters. Israel breathes a sigh of relief, though cautiously. This wildfire left not only a physical scar on the landscape, but also an emotional wound on thousands of families. The disaster laid bare the country's vulnerability to wildfires, and as climate change intensifies, it serves as a stark warning of what lies ahead.
Look.
תראה מה זה, על הכביש.